Hey everybody, John here from Catbird Hill. So welcome back to part 2 of the Stihl MS500i chainsaw taking apart this big silver maple. Last video that I did, I think it was on Friday, November 6th. I basically delimbed the tree, got all the leaders cut up, and I just moved all the rounds away so that we have plenty of room to section the remaining log. One thing I did want to talk about is, I made mention of it in the previous video, the word on the street has been that the MS500i is a really thirsty saw in terms of fuel. It really consumes the fuel. So I just want to show you what I ended up cutting on one tank of fuel. There are all the rounds right there. You can kind of get an idea. Now, in my opinion, that's not a lot of wood. You know, I know I've cut at least that much, if not more, with other saws on one tank. So all of this totally consumed one tank of fuel. So I would say, yeah, it's definitely a little bit on the thirsty side as far as drinking fuel goes. So what we've got left is our remaining log on the ground. And I brought the L2501 out just in case we need a little bit of muscle to move things around. But what I'm probably going to do is the first cut is probably going to be somewhere around here. One of the comments in the previous video, my friend Brett Black talked about tapping the log as you go up and hearing if it's hollow or solid. I think, you know, it started to get a little bit solid somewhere around here, so that's probably going to be my first cut. If that's the first cut, I'm going to end up with 2 logs that are about 9.5, 10 feet long, which is perfect. You know, I would, you know, if I have the chance to have a log that length, even though I may not, you know, use all that, you always like to have a little bit of extra on the ends for drying and cracking and so forth. Even on logs that you see, all that happens. So that's what we're going to go for. So we'll make at least 2 or 3 cuts here. We may have to cut a little bit further back if it's not solid wood there. And, you know, we'll see how it goes. I think this is going to be a much better test of the 500i. You know, considering the diameter of this log, we're going to be fully burying that bar and chain into the log. So I think you're going to get a much better sense of its performance versus, you know, cutting up small stuff like that. Got a beautiful day here in southeastern Pennsylvania. I got home about an hour ago. It's mid to late afternoon now. It's at least 70 degrees here. It's just absolutely perfect weather. So we have a little bit of a warm up right now in this part of the country, and I am loving it. It's nice and dry. It's clear. There's no humidity. So we're going to take advantage and make a little sawdust here. So what I want to do is try to get you guys focused. You're obviously not going to be able to see the full cut because the bar is going to be gone in the wood there, but you can get an idea of the saw's performance. What I did do prior to setting up here right now is I chalked the log in a couple of places just with some leftover wedgie pieces just to make sure it doesn't roll away from me. I did prop the log up with some scrap lumber in various places. Hopefully we won't get too much binding, but you know, cutting like this with something this much weight, I'm going to probably have to wedge the cuts. We'll see how it goes. Let's see what goes on here. Time for the real deal. thought. We got from where the cut was, which is a nice solid cut. There's, you know, good wood there. We got 23 feet from that cut, that first cut, to the crotch where, you know, that end of the log is. So I'm actually thinking of doing, you know, maybe around 8 feet, just a little over 7 feet. Just, I think it's going to be more manageable to mill, and I have plenty of uses for wood in that dimension. So I think that's what we're gonna shoot for that. Okay, you can see that's moving. That's good. We'll go about another 7 feet, 4 inches. Okay, I think we're good. So what I want to do is I'm just going to take the L2501 and just maybe roll the middle section. I want to roll this middle section forward. I want to take the little chalk out of there, and then just I want to see what the ends of the wood look like and just do a quick measurement of that middle section. We'll talk a little bit about the cutting of the 500i, but man, I was impressed with that. I guess I better move this very fancy chainsaw out of the way. The last thing we need to do is have a couple 1,000-pound log roll on it. Wow, these are really, really nice logs. And I am very grateful. I'm sure somebody might have a different opinion, but I'm grateful I decided to do basically 7.5 footers here. Look at that. That is beautiful. See what we've got on diameter there. Now remember, this is the middle section, so 25 inches. Wow, that's awesome. And so basically we've got the same measurement there. At this end, you know, this is the end. I'm going to have to do a little bit of work maybe with the tractor just to kind of pull back the root mass there, the collar. That's just, there might still be some stuff. I don't want to mess around until I make sure that that's all freed up from the ground. But this here, I'm thinking probably is about 28. So, and again, I pointed this out on the previous video. These logs are just nice and straight. Yeah, that's going to be beautiful. I think we're going to get some really nice slabs out of that. Cool. All right. So definitely I find, you know, I made what, 1, 2, 3 cuts there with the MS500i. I'm very, very happy with that saw. That's now, I think I'm on my 3rd or 4th tank full through it. This is the biggest stuff. Well, actually, I take that back. I did some test cuts on another maple on another part of the property earlier this year, and I just did, you know, 4 or 5 cookies, and you know, it cut really great. Then it was brand new. That was actually the first cutting it did. But this is the first serious purposeful cutting we've done with it, and I am very, very happy with it. I mean, the bar was buried in the log. No trouble. I didn't feel any hesitation. It's still continuing to pull really hard. I know people have opinions about, you know, whether saws really wake up, you know, anymore. I mean, years ago, people talked all about the rings seating and heat cycling and so forth. There's a lot of controversy about that now, but I mean, to me, right out of the box, I still consider this almost right out of the box for this saw. Very, very happy with it. And honestly, I was suspicious of this. I didn't know what issues it might have, being it was kind of the first release to the public of a fuel-injected saw that Stihl had done. And I tend to be more of a Husqvarna guy, but I really, really am impressed with that. I mean, that could be sort of an all-around saw that all you might ever need, other than maybe a little limbing saw. So anyhow, thanks again for watching. We got some great logs for milling here. I'm just delighted. This wood just looks absolutely beautiful. I'm going to be getting some latex paint on here. That's another thing. If you guys have opinions about using Anchor Seal versus just, big box store brand, exterior latex primer paint, let me know what you think. Honestly, I haven't seen a difference. I've used both, and I just really haven't seen a difference. I've had end cracking on logs that I've sealed with Anchor Seal, and I've had end cracking with logs that were sealed with cheap latex paint, and then logs that didn't crack, and I used both of those products. So, Anchor Seal's not cheap. I tend to try to find, what's the path of least resistance in terms of cost. So if you guys have opinions about that, I'm no expert in lumber milling. I'm just getting started on this. So I'd love to hear, what you guys think. But thanks again for watching. Really appreciate you hanging in there. I know this was going to be a 2 longer videos, but hopefully you had some fun. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Click the thumbs up. Hopefully, if you like the videos, share these videos with your friends. Stay tuned. Take care. John here from Catbird Hill.